Hello and welcome to Filling in the Gaps. I'm Justin.
I'm Darren.
Here on Filling in the Gaps, we typically talk about puzzle games and puzzling movies, of which we're going to talk about a puzzle game today. Agent A: A Puzzle in Disguise. It's not really a puzzle in disguise, but I guess they thought that was clever. There's a lot about this game they think is clever.
Yeah, I don't know why it's called A Puzzle in Disguise, because it's quite clearly not in disguise.
They may as well just left it Agent A, but I guess they want to have that sort of secondary half of the title.
Right, yeah.
But it just doesn't quite work for me. The game, however, is very enjoyable. I've played it twice recently, really enjoyed it. I will probably end up playing it again at some point, because it is one of those that is a short game. It took me about 5 hours the first time I played it, and far less the second time. I don't know exactly.
There was an achievement for doing it in, 2 hours?
Yeah, which I didn't get. So clearly it took me longer than 2 hours. But that was probably because of some puzzles where I was backtracking and a few times where I forgot something or I was missing one tiny thing and had to use a walkthrough to go find it. Because the map does get very big towards the end. A lot of going forward, going back, going around. But in a very interesting way the first time. Just not when you're trying to speedrun it in under 2 hours. The game is developed and published by Yak & Co. Recent, very positive overall, overwhelmingly positive. At base it's 20, but there's no way I paid that for it. My guess would be about 5, which would be about perfect for what it is.
Yeah. This was on my wish list for ages, and I just waiting for that sale. And
it's basically an escape room point and click. Not really point and click story-wise, but with the inventory and the way that you interact with everything, especially going from screen to screen, moving through, feels very point and click. It's hidden object. It's obviously a puzzle game. I didn't know it was going to be an escape room, so when that aspect came up, I was pleasantly surprised and thought, oh, if I'd known that, I probably would have jumped on it sooner. It is told in 5 chapters. My impression is they didn't release all 5 chapters at once. I would have been really annoyed to have only played certain sections, especially the 4th section leading into the 5th would have felt just very incomplete and unsatisfying. And I just can't imagine this kind of game where, yes, it is in chapters, but you have to go back to earlier parts of the game in order to finish puzzles. So I would have had unfinished puzzles waiting for the 5th chapter and then to come back and go, where was I? What was I doing?
do you know that for sure, though? Was this episodically released?
I just know that the walkthrough I was using, at the end of the 4th chapter, they said, stay tuned for when chapter 5 is released.
Oh, wow. That's because usually, I mean, sometimes they have chapters, but they're not episodically released. But if this was episodically released, then yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Especially finishing the chapter 4 and then having to wait for chapter 5 to come out. You're like, come on, let's just get to the end of the story already.
Yeah. Overall, though, like I said, it's a fun game. I would say this is a more casual puzzle game. Anybody could pick this up and give it a try. There are definitely some things that broke my brain logically, and some things like point and click games do. There are some other things where it's just the hidden object aspect of it, I just did not see it. A lot of those things, and because the game is so linear with many of its puzzles, you can just be wandering around and stuck. So I definitely did use walkthrough help the first time, not gonna lie. But it's for the most part, I wouldn't say that any of the puzzles are really brain-breaking, and a lot of them are actually quite simple.
Yeah. Or if you're like me, you play it for 20 minutes, then you get stuck, and then I gave up because I thought I just couldn't get past something because I thought it was a maths problem, and then
it wasn't a maths
quite
puzzle.
Quite clearly, it was not. I think what it was I just hadn't found. No idea.
You can't say that in the spoiler-free section.
Well, I'll delete it. Bleep it out. That beep in the beep room. There you go. Just put that bit in. Just cut and paste that.
Oh, you fool. Alright. You thought it was a maths puzzle. I sent you a picture of something that happens much later in the game.
Yeah, way later, yeah.
Which does involve a bit of maths. Not anything complicated because I figured it out.
Yeah.
But you said, no. The thing that stopped me was in, like, the first 20 minutes of the game, and I was baffled because I didn't remember any maths in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking about that, but it's obviously like you can't even guess that without knowing that other bit of information. And I don't even know if the game will allow you to. Have you tried? I wonder if you can. I wonder in your speedrun if you can just like go straight to the answer of that immediately. Yes. You can, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I knew there's only a certain number of combinations, and it's a combination lock. The numbers didn't change for that one.
Yeah.
For some of the others, they do. That is one nice thing about Agent A is even if you do play it a second time, there are a number of puzzles where combinations change.
Mm-hmm.
So it does add replayability. You're not just memorizing the numbers and going through. You actually have to play the game.
Right.
But with that, with Darren already slipping into some spoilers, I think we need to get into this. So if you haven't given Agent A a try, I would recommend it.
Yep, I would too. Yep.
I think it's a fun game. The humor, not necessarily always for me, but I think that overall the puzzles are fun. And this is one of those short, fun things that I played, and then I played again recently just to make sure that it was fresh in my mind. I enjoyed it both times.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you haven't, we recommend you go play it and come back. For those of you that have already played or who don't care about spoilers, well, join us because here it is, your spoiler warning. Okay, with this game, I just don't really want to talk about it in order. Not the way that we normally do, where we would go, say, puzzle by puzzle.
Because you can solve big chunks of it out
in
of
different orders,
anyway.
Yes. I certainly, the second time through where I was running through it quicker, I definitely did things in a different order because I was where I needed to be. Mm-hmm. And I knew that there were other things I needed to do here. So like you were saying, we're now in the spoiler section. The maths puzzle you thought was where the camera comes out and there's a sort of infrared which shows you which fingerprint oily buttons there are, which is just 2 twice and 5. Those numbers don't change. I do wonder if the combination changes as far as like 252, 225, because I thought it was 252, and then the second playthrough, it was 225, I think. Don't know if that really matters.
There's
that
only
much.
3 combinations it could be anyway, isn't there? So
you thought it was a maths puzzle. It wasn't. I was totally baffled by that.
So was I. When I went through it again, I was like, why did I think this was a maths puzzle? It's not at all. I think I just got angry with it. I was like, I can't do this. I'm done. It's maths. And bailed.
I did do that without bothering to go to look at the camera. So I just tried it 252, 225. I was in. Okay. So I think a number of those things you probably could do if you happen to know the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many puzzles. I didn't pay attention really to how many puzzles actually change the second time. So if there are colors, there are some that are really obvious because I still had my notes from my first playthrough nearby. So I could look at the combination and go, oh, well, that's the same. Okay, that one's different. It's about hit or miss, I would say. Maybe, I don't want to say half, but maybe a third. It's certainly the ones that have combinations.
Right.
The picture puzzles where you're doing any sort of rotating, I don't think those change.
No.
And a number of other things where you're finding things don't really change. As far as story, let's just kind of get that out of the way. You open with a cutscene in Chapter 1. Chief Ermin D. Skies. They love their puns. The mission is to stop Ruby LaRouge, known for destroying agents. We see Ruby go into an elevator and leave with another woman's dress, and the other woman is knocked out in the elevator. She plants a bomb in the form of a wine bottle on a cruise ship. The chief was on the ship. It explodes. We see her go to her mansion. We're now given the controls. Left mouse for pretty much everything. Right mouse to move backwards. And escape the pause. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. You can also use the WASD keys to, like, it pulls up a cursor and you can, like, move a cursor around the screen. I've got no idea what's going on there. Maybe that's for
I didn't do that.
Maybe that's for controller or something like that. But you can actually get a cursor on the screen. That's like some old school point and click puzzle.
We get into the main part of the mansion simply by finding the key under a plant right by the front door.
Yeah, you check mat first. It's like, no, it's not under the mat. It's like, okay, I'll be under the plant pot then. Yep.
Yeah. And we get in, and the basic idea is Ruby locks us in. So the whole thing is we must find a way to get out of it. And yes, so we are already introduced the idea that this is a type of escape room. The second chapter is all about the electrified pool. We have to stop the electrified pool and get all of the wedges so that we can get the C4. But let's get to that in a bit. Chapter 3 is we've broken through the pool. We're in the secret room, and it's another, again, limited. This one is a very limited escape room.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated. It kind of broke up the monotony of going back and forth a lot.
Yeah.
And it did some really interesting things that, wow, wouldn't it be great if a real escape room could do some of this stuff?
Oh, the whole flipping the walls stuff.
Yeah. The only escape room, the physical one that I've been in, had the secret room.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nothing like this. It was finding, I think, the key that opens the secret door.
Right.
Well, or even not secret. You do have some, I think, where the door will appear if something happens, right? But it's nothing like this, where all three walls become something incredibly different.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't go back and forth and back and forth. That would be the big, ooh, wow moment. Chapter 4 is where we start off in the blueprint room, and a lot of back and forth with the blueprints to keep leveling up our clearance level, breaking into Ruby's office, warning Agent B that something bad is coming, and then Chapter 5, stopping Ruby's submarine so she can't escape. It's okay for what it is. The story itself, though, is, for me, the weakest part.
Yeah, the story's just tacked on there, really, isn't it? I mean, the best thing about the story is the cat, to be honest. It's... yeah, everything else is like, it's just a cheesy kind of James Bond thing, isn't it? A riff on James Bond. The
animation looks a little bit weird too.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby's lips seem to just float across her face. The cat too, sometimes, especially there's a shot where it's sleeping and its eyes are moving and stuff, and it just sort of looks like it's floating around. It doesn't seem attached. The awful, we're in the spoiler section. Oh, I wonder who that shadowy figure could be. We've only seen two people, and it looks exactly like the chief. Who could it be?
That's quite a funny reveal. Like,
maybe that was the point. Maybe it was meant to be that obvious.
It's like, it's his chair and everything. It's like there's just a silhouette of his chair and his haircut. It's like, I just saw that guy. Yeah, that's him. Okay.
The jokes that they make, the Agent A will say, they're just so cringy.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Okay. If you say they're bad, then I know they're bad. I just stopped reading them after a while.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, they aren't helpful. They aren't hints. They're just stupid stuff and
puns.
Yeah, I just stopped. And also, Agent A talking about himself like he's so great. Oh, even my super secret agent strong biceps can't open this door, or something like that. What are you doing? Just stop. Please just stop. The inventory system is pretty good in this.
It is, until you collect up like 1 billion triangles, and then it fills up the whole side.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and jump into that aspect as well. The inventory is good because of how easily you can just click and drag.
Mm-hmm.
There are some times where the hitbox of where a key needs to go didn't quite work the way it should have felt naturally. You don't really get to look at objects, but honestly, you don't really need to.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that you get the description of what it is.
Right.
That is enough for me. And most of the objects look very clearly like what they're supposed to be. Oh, this is a heart-shaped key. It looks like a heart.
Yep.
So for me, I was very happy with that. Scrolling up and down when you have many things in the inventory can be a little bit cumbersome, which is why I tended to just go and place all of those things as soon as I could.
Mm-hmm. There's only like twice in the game where it's a problem. Once with the triangles, and the next time with those pins you got to put in the bomb room.
But that same room, you also have to pick up all the glass pieces, and that seems to be a bit much. The blueprints, maybe they do kind of get in the way, but
I was always going back and putting them in.
Yeah, because you're hoping that you've got the right ones to get the next code.
Yeah.
That one I would say not as much. I do think there were some times where, you need to collect. The triangles was a lot.
Yeah, because I got one and I was like, oh, you just put it in the middle. It's like, no, the middle one is the one that's filled. You got to fill the whole thing around it. Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things like the rusty gate or grate on the floor where you have to get the oil to pour on it to open it just to get that one.
Yeah.
You need to turn on the pool cleaning system. You have to go through a whole lot just to get one triangle.
Yeah.
There's something not satisfying about that.
They're like behind things, under potted plants. Yeah, they're just like
When you
they're
have
everywhere.
I don't mind so much when I'm just finding them. Hidden object style, that to me feels okay. But when I go through a massive long puzzle, like the pool, just to get one more piece of the triangle,
Yeah.
that just feels very unsatisfying.
It's my dread, man. I hate that. It's like you're like, I've got no items left in my inventory. I don't know what I'm doing next. I'm going to solve this puzzle, and you get it, and it's like, oh, it's just another piece for that. And now what do I do?
Yeah,
You know?
and that's where I often would hit the walkthrough. Where am I supposed to go next? What am I even supposed to be looking for?
Yeah.
Because it does get quite big. You have essentially 4 major areas that you can explore once you get to chapter 4.
Yeah, it gets quite big.
Yeah, and
A lot of
a
backtracking.
lot of backtracking. Forward and back, forward and back.
Yeah. I mean, I played this and I finished the game in one sitting. I streamed this on Twitch, and I there was one thing.
Well, your second sitting
My second saying, yeah, but
after you gave up the non-maths puzzle.
20 minutes on the note, yeah. But yeah, there was one thing I needed help with that I just blanked on, and we'll get to that later on. But because it's like way later, it's like chapter 4 puzzle.
That's fine.
Maybe chapter 5.
I think we can just talk about.
Well, it's the one where it's a good puzzle, and I had it. Yeah. It's the one where there's 2 paintings, and one of them has got all these rocks, and they're all coloured. And then there's another painting, and it's got circles of obviously the rocks that you're supposed to push. And it's to deactivate the lasers in that room, right?
Yes.
I was putting them in. It's wrong. Came a bit here, got to do it in the order. I was going through the order of the rainbow, but that's kind of hard because some of them are just like, cyan, where does that go in the rainbow? And it took me ages, but someone in chat said, the colours are not the same as the picture. They've been rearranged here. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I was stuck there for a while.
But you did see the 1 out of 2, 2 out of 2. So
Oh
you knew
yeah,
they were
that
connected.
was so obvious. I knew they were connected, but I just was following the second one. But it kind of makes sense now looking back. Idiot, Darren. But it's like otherwise you wouldn't need the first one.
I love that puzzle. I would say that modern technology makes these kind of puzzles much easier to do because I can quickly take a picture with my phone, as opposed to the old days where I would have had to write down all 9 colors and then make a grid.
Like I did right here. Yeah.
Made it so much easier. That's going to be important later. Let me take a picture and flip through it later.
It was definitely very useful to take pictures for. Was it Seventh Guest? That was very useful.
Yes. There are a number where it's proved to be incredibly useful. And this game, definitely, there are a few times where that came into play. There are some where I didn't. The giant safe, which I have mixed feelings about. The one where there's a light that travels up around the giant safe door.
Oh, and it goes backwards and forwards,
Yes.
like a metronome.
I'm still not exactly sure what the rule for it is.
It just as soon as you click it, it changes direction.
Yes,
That's it.
that I understand. But there seem to be times where it would say I failed and I didn't quite understand why. So my question is this also like their puzzle that they love so much they did about 4 times, where it has to be a particular order, or is it just that you have to get all 5?
I think there's only one order you can do it in.
That could be possible.
Because you
as
can't
well.
jump over the colours.
That's what I'm missing, I think.
Yeah, so you got to go all the way to the end, let it go. Then when you click it, let it go all the way back to the earliest one on the left side. Then click it again, let it go back to the other side, and then you get closer to the
But
middle.
then you are jumping over one.
You're not. You're not jumping over them. You click the furthest away one,
Yep, so that's 17.
17, whatever. It goes back to
5.
Then you put it back to 14 or whatever it was. Maybe it was different for you, but I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was 15, 14, 5, 7, and 9 for me. That's what
It was 16, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
16.
So you do that one, this one, this one, this one. It's like
Great audio.
You don't, yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Maybe that's how I ended up doing it. I think maybe I was missing the fact that I couldn't jump over a number.
Yeah, because I thought you just had to click them on the way. So the first one I clicked was 5,
And then 7.
and then it went back, and then it's like, oh, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
So I went to 7, and then I went back to 5, and then you failed. So it's like, you got to go the whole way around. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Just takes a long time. The piano one, very much like that. Way better than Seventh Guest.
Yeah.
But still, I felt like the first 2 were great, and then the last one felt like too many keys.
Mm-hmm.
I would attribute that as well to that horrible puzzle early on where there are different shapes on a chessboard that you have to trace. So it's like in the second room, and you have to trace it, but they move so quickly. I mean, I'm glad you're not wasting my time. You're not going at a snail's pace, but I need you to go a little bit slower than that. You're doing 3 shapes. So I was just trying them until I would get the X and go, okay, now just memorizing the shapes.
Do you see what I did? Were you watching me when I streamed that bit?
No.
I just took a board marker and drew on my screen because it comes off.
Well, that would work. That would work. I will say this for it, though. In the third section of that, where there are 3 different shapes, you can do them in any order. You just can't click on a wrong space.
Or the wrong order, yeah.
Well, actually, I don't think the order matters either, because I did the top pattern in a different way.
That makes it a lot. Maybe I wouldn't have. I probably wouldn't have had to have drawn on my screen then. Like if I thought you had to follow the order that they flashed up on.
I actually don't think so. I think it was much more forgiving.
Because that's really fast.
Yeah, which is what I used. Sort of going, okay, I understand the first shape. Let me work on the second shape. Mm-hmm. Because trying to remember the first shape and then going into the second shape, it was way too complicated. It's like, I'm never going to get to the third one.
Well, if you just have to memorize the shape of it that it makes, then that would make it a whole lot easier. Yeah, no, I was going the order that they lit up in, which was hard.
I mean, listeners can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's the way I did it, and I appreciated that.
That is leeway. Good, yeah.
Some things I didn't really appreciate, though. 1 glass of water puts out an entire fire. I was not expecting that. A bucket of water shorts out an
electric fence?
Yeah.
What happens when it rains?
Yeah. I just wanted to put the bucket in there because a plastic bucket would not conduct electricity. It should block it all anyway. Yeah. But, okay, point and click logic. Let's do that. We can put a diamond into the lasers, and that's just going to magically bounce all the lasers in the right spot. Yeah. Okay. But to get that diamond was great, because that's when you have the steamy shower, which shows you the clock time. Just readjust that clock. I love the whole crank with the record player that you can speed up fast enough that it's powerful enough to take the screwdriver out.
Right, it fires it across the room.
Yeah, you couldn't just take it out. No. The music's going to be more powerful than me grabbing it.
With my big biceps.
Yeah. I think what really made the game work for me were the number of times I was surprised I didn't see something coming. So, for example, the weird tube elevator that takes you back to the main part of the mansion again.
That was cool to revisit.
I thought I was already done. No, there are a few more things you can do. Great. Love that.
Yeah.
The phone that I couldn't use for the longest time, you get to use, and you get to order a USB from the spy company.
Yeah. Or a shoe phone or something like that.
There is an achievement for a shoe phone. I still haven't found it. Did you find it?
No.
I looked through all those shoes this time, and I tried to say, please send a shoe phone, and it says they're out of stock.
I tried it. I tried to order everything else first except the USB, because I was scared. I was scared it would okay, that's it, ordered, finished. I was like, no, I want to order all this other cool stuff first.
Yeah, I do think there's an achievement I missed because I didn't do something else first. But
maybe.
There's a way to feed something to Onyx in that little cat flap.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm meant to, the whole part where you can catch the fish.
Get the fish and go
which
back.
Makes no sense. You just leave a net trailing behind you on the boat and you always get a fish. But
And just one fish.
yeah, but it's point and click logic. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I think if I had taken that fish and put it in there, that might have worked. Alternately, there's like some achievement for finding the fish skeleton again. So I
got that. Here's a question for you though.
Yeah.
The question, the code on the letterbox outside.
Mm-hmm.
You get the 2 diamonds from the desk.
Yeah.
You get the fast forward sign from somewhere else. I can't remember exactly. You get the 3 lines from the shampoo bottle in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I just kind of brute forced it and just got the 4th one.
Right.
Is it anywhere?
It's right next to it. There's a red electrical box
Uh-huh.
and the lock there. I'm pretty sure it's right there.
What? Oh, the symbol is there.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Where was the fast forward symbol then? Because I thought maybe that was there, but...
It's in one of the drawers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's in the drawer. You're right. So they do have all 4 symbols then?
Yes.
Ah, okay. I just missed the 4th one, but I was like, I've got 3 of them. I don't need it. Click, 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 click. There you go. Done.
I like the fact that you can go out there to that location, turn off the water, turn on the water. Mm-hmm. But it's again a bit laborious to go back and forth.
Yeah, because it's like 4 or 5 screens between, isn't it? Yeah.
Which I will say this for it. Agent A moves very smoothly for a game like this and quickly through the screens. There's only one part, I think, in the Chapter 4, Chapter 5 area where you had to knock down a grate to get through the tunnel, where it stops you sort of unnecessarily each time after that. Most of the others, you can flow through pretty quickly, though there are times where I'm trying to back up, but I've got to wait for Agent A to say his thing or for something else to happen. I'm like, I'm already done with this. Let me back up.
Yeah.
Was not a problem the first time, but the second time when I was thinking maybe I'll get the 120-minute achievement, it was very frustrating.
Yeah, when you're in a hurry, yeah.
Some other cool parts, I love the gun, getting to shoot the watermelon. I would have liked to have seen it splatter a bit more.
Yeah. Just kind of vanishes, doesn't it? It just like turns to juice.
I like the fact that you get to go out to that island. There's the
lighthouse thing.
Yeah, with the old-fashioned elevator where you hold down the...
Yeah, I was clicking it going, that's not working. Click, 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 click. It's moving a little bit. Oh, you got to hold it. Yeah. Okay. That's cool because you get like a bit of lore in the game as well. The lighthouse keeper's diaries up there. And yeah, that's a cool little place he's like, I'm going to go and check out what she's doing. It's like, no, don't do that. Here's another thing that's really weird, though. So she blows up that boat. It's right outside of her house. When you look through the telescope, it's like, it's right there, and it's still on fire.
Yes.
No rescue helicopters, no lifeboats, just a boat, just a big cruise ship on fire.
In the sea. Yeah. Still on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Some other puzzles that I liked going through... I really liked going through the different areas in 4 and 5 to get the different levels of clearance.
I loved that. I loved like putting the CDs in. You felt like a hacker or something like that. There was no hacking minigame or anything like that. It was just like put in a password that you got from those blueprints, wasn't it?
Yeah, which Ruby leaves all the clues for us.
Yeah, thanks, Ruby. Yeah, you got to solve that. You get your level 2 one, your level 3 one, and
there does get a point though where it's like, I've forgotten everything I've seen. That twice now, both times, that stupid little statue that you have to knock off because it's heavy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, with the crowbar.
With the crowbar. I've forgotten that twice.
Yeah,
I had to use the walkthrough the first time, and the second time, I think I came across and went, oh, that's what the crowbar's for, because I was using it everywhere else that you would think to use a crowbar.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that and the what else did I forget? I forgot about the crowbar. There's another item that I had. I just couldn't remember what it was for. I think it was the I had a bit of pipe. I was like, where does this go? Is this? Can I abseil down the cliff to get to Gunther with this pipe? Like, no, it's not. It's not that big, Darren. It's a Bunsen burner pipe.
Yeah, which the key falls in and that liquid magically disappears when you burn it.
Science, man.
I really enjoyed the number of puzzles that you could solve, like an escape room, where there are pictures you just have to pay attention to. So like you're talking about the symbols, there were a couple of times where they used paintings that had color order.
In the bedroom, yeah. And the game's really good about doing that, where it's like, if there's something that you can click on and there's a little bit of flavor text, it goes straight into your notebook, because you're like, that's a puzzle. And so because the game as a whole, I mean, there's nothing but puzzles. So it's like anything that's in it, there's no real red herrings. It's not like you can look at everything and get a description of everything. If they give you a description, it's probably important. So I appreciate that game design that they've done for this.
I agree. Grabbing the magnet, using that to get one of your early keys.
The aquarium.
It's a little frustrating, but I imagine in real life it'd be a little frustrating to get a key.
Yeah.
In such a fashion.
At least it doesn't get stuck on like the urchins or that. You can kind of go through them. So it's like, I was wondering, oh man, am I going to get it hooked on something?
Basically, they did a very nice thing where the key just sort of floats behind.
Mm-hmm.
If you move too fast, it'll just wait for you. It doesn't fall down and get stuck on something, which in real life, it probably would.
Yep, exactly. And also when you solve the kind of the tile puzzle where you got to make the line through the thing in the above the fireplace. Mm-hmm. When you get, there's like a key panel. What game was it? Jog my memory, but there was a game that we played. It was an escape room where there's a keypad, but the keys are all wrong.
Yes.
What game was that we played? Was it one of the room games?
It could be. I was thinking.
Or was it Safecracker?
I was thinking it was Last Will, but.
Oh, yeah. It's either Safecracker, Last Will, or one of the room games.
Definitely seems like a Safecracker thing, though, now that you mention that. Not sure.
Yeah, because I saw that, I was like, oh, I like these puzzles. I know exactly what I'm doing here.
Yeah. And that's great. I think they have taken a lot of puzzles that we've seen before. They had a traffic jam puzzle, but I didn't mind it because it was just so... Something about it just felt so easy.
It was easy, yeah.
I think that's... weirdly the thing. If you're going to give me a traffic jam puzzle, which honestly we don't really need anymore, but if you're going to, just make it easy, because we've had that kind of twice now. I think Gomo had a very easy one as well, and I went, well, I don't mind it so much. It's when they're just way too many things.
Steps, yeah, just like 36 steps to do it, and it's got to be in the correct order from move one, and if you don't do the right move on the first one, you're done. Yeah, I got no time for that. But yeah, no, the puzzles on this, on the whole in this game were fair. It was just like, sometimes it was just like, for me, it was getting the fish for Steve. It's not Steve.
You renamed the cat already.
Getting the fish for Onyx, for the fishbone, and then getting the other fish for Gunther. And then, but he still won't fly away. It's like, I gave him the fish. Why is he still not moving?
Because you have to put it on the log down below.
Yeah. But no, I mean, yeah, it's fair. Out of all the 4 chapters, then, what was your favourite? Because I think mine was maybe the bomb room. It
probably was. I don't think that was my favourite part of the game, but it was probably my favourite single chapter.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. My favourite chapter was probably the bomb room.
The thing for me is the game surprised me because of how many times we could go back to other things and still find something new.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciated that aspect of the game. But that one was a standalone chapter. And like I said, I kind of needed that after what I had just been through. A lot of mansion in and out and back and forth. The only back and forth here is switching to brick wall, switching to all the puzzles.
Finding Trevor. Was that his name?
Yeah.
Trevor the mouse. I got that by total accident. I don't know how I got it. I don't know how he gave me that key. I just clicked and then eventually a key popped out.
I did as well. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I really like the puzzle in here with the rotating dials where you just have to lock them in place.
The lasers?
No, on the wall, there were about 9 spinning dials.
Oh, yeah.
And you can lock a column or you can lock a row. And the idea is just to get them all to match and be in sync. It took me a minute to kind of realize what was going on or how it was going to work, because I thought this was going to be one of those where I click dial 1 and 4 and 7 move.
I thought the same thing, man. Even when you see it and it's not working yet because you haven't switched it on, I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this. Like, I'm not going to have a good time here.
I was pleasantly surprised.
No, it's good. It's a new take. It's a new take on an old puzzle. I've never seen it done this way, and it's like, yeah, I'm always looking for something like that.
And this works well. It was so simple.
It's hard to switch it on though, because I searched everywhere, going, "How do you start these gears?"
I had to use a walkthrough for that.
But it was the only thing that I hadn't looked at. I was like, if it's not on the TV screen, then I'm really screwed. And then I said to chat at the time, if it's not on the TV screen, then someone has to tell me what's going on. And fair enough, you look at the TV screen and you get the static and it's like the colours. Ah, okay. Clever? I mean, why are you giving... You want to blow it up, but I mean, I guess we blow it. She wants us to solve the puzzle so that we do detonate it anyway, isn't it? That's the whole trick.
Yeah. The sort of pegs that you have to put in
I like that puzzle.
A 7. I liked it. I didn't really like that it reverses itself and then you have to redo it again.
Well, actually, I drew it down here and then I was like, but that's not it because the note is flipped. So I actually drew it so that I could visualize it. And then if you do it like that, then you can see the way that it's supposed to go in. That doesn't help anyone who's just watching this or listening to this. But basically, on the thing, the puzzle is on the other side of the paper, but it's on like a flipped over, so it's been reversed basically. And so I put it in the normal way. It's like it doesn't work. And then I think I put it in every single other way before I finally got to that. And I was like, oh, it's this way. And then boom, yeah, you got it. I like that puzzle. That was a good puzzle because you had to think out the box a little bit.
You don't have to move that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was just me going, I just did that. Yeah. Now I've got to do it again. And having to switch back and forth between
rooms, yeah.
It's not that much, but it's the type of thing when you're playing through it the first time, you have to do it so many times because you're just not sure what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the laser thing, I definitely missed that the code for that was on the locks, where to put the lasers and how to point them. Also, I didn't see, in the walkthrough, the picture shows laser receptacles, but I did not see those.
I did. They're not in there until you solve it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not. Because I was the same. I was like, I never saw those things before. They weren't there before. No, they only show up once you've solved it.
I also struggled with the simplest puzzle, which is
the numbers on the side. Or
no, to take the brick and put it on the button so that door will open.
Yeah,
I tried so many times to
you hear something
get back
moving.
faster.
Yeah, it's like you hear something moving. It's like, okay, what if I change? It's like, I don't know. Yeah, it took me a while to catch on to that. It's like, okay, just put the brick. Can I put the brick down on this? Yep. Okay, done. But yeah, there was that maths puzzle in here. It was so easy because it was like the top one goes up by 2, the next row goes up by 3, the next one goes up by 4, something like that.
I think you're off by 1. I think it's 3, 4, 5.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
And then the columns go in an order as well, so you can
either way you could solve it.
Yeah. It's really, really simple. Because it's not maths, it's just a pattern.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you have to know how to add something plus 3. So maybe a little bit taxing for me, but yeah, I got there in the end.
I didn't really like the bomb part of this, though, at the end, where we just stopped the bomb by basically clicking on it 100 times.
Oh, yeah.
Because the briefcase is also a bomb, and we have to try to stop it. That seems like a good time for a puzzle.
Yeah. Hit it until it breaks.
And get lucky. It was fun, though. And that section for me, I think, was probably the most fun. One of the things I found the most frustrating was that picture puzzle to get into the submarine room, because it's a bunch of, hexagons that have different thickness lines, and they're all sort of triangular. It's a sort of honeycomb of a picture. Mm-hmm. And both the first time and the second time, I was so close. I just had one that looked like it was in the right place, but wasn't. So a lot of rotating, a lot of stuff, just trial and error until I found the one that actually was. The one was just not quite off.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah. It's like you've It's almost like the same as the pipe thing, where you got to get everything to match up together.
Except with the pipe thing, they're very clear.
Yeah.
This one feels not
It's
as
really
clear.
random. It's like basically someone smashed a piece of glass and then they've put it back together again, isn't it? It's just like a mess. But yeah, I just remember I just went around the edges first, got the edges, and then filling in the middle is the hard part. Yeah.
All right, well, that's pretty much what I've got. I enjoy the game. I don't know if the pounding is going through, but our
neighbours are doing jumping jacks upstairs or something like that.
So maybe they're trying to tell us that they've heard enough.
Yeah, stop spoiling Agent A for us. We haven't played it yet.
I enjoyed the game. I have already bought their other game on sale because it went for like $2 recently.
Yep, I bought it as well.
I'm going to give that a try at some point. I hope it's this kind of fun. I kind of thought their next game would be Agent B, given the ending that they gave us of the message getting through.
Yeah.
That horrible radar thing that was just taped up. Yeah. Somehow made it through. But overall...
Oh, Jetpack Jerry.
Yes.
That was dumb.
Okay.
Totally forgot about that. I blanked on that. That was very convenient, wasn't it? 3-4 times in a row.
Yes. And every time hitting exactly what we needed.
Yes. Yeah, thanks, Jerry.
Okay. I had asked him while we were waiting for some of the pounding to stop if there was anything he missed telling. Apparently that was the thing that he...
Yeah, Jerry. Totally forgot about that. That was so stupid.
But I think that it has that point and click logic and that sort of recurring thing that is both a joke but also helps move the story forward.
Yeah.
And it pays off in the end because it's important to the end, even though it's like, well, that probably wouldn't work. But none of that probably would have worked, so let's just let it be.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I've played it twice. I will probably break this one out at some point just because it's short and fun and the puzzles don't break my brain, but they make me feel smart for having accomplished them, and that's kind of what I look for in a puzzle game, especially one that I might want to play again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love the end as well. How the cat is it's like this evil Dr. Evil's cat, but in the end he's just like a simple cat, just wants to be petted and loved, and he rejects her in the end, and he's your cat, and it's like, yeah, I love that. That was cute, very cute.
And the line of, where is the kitchen in this place anyway? Like, kitty, you must be hungry. I can find us a fish, but where's the kitchen?
I don't know, is that just the game making fun of itself? Like they didn't have a kitchen puzzle, so there isn't one.
Quite possibly.
Pretty funny. Gaps filled and more gaps created.